The morning started peacefully, too peacefully for our HOA. The sun rose soft and golden over Lake Willowbend, the glassy surface reflecting the trees like a painting. Birds chirped lazily. A gentle breeze brushed against the porch railing. I rocked my daughter's stroller back and forth, sipping my coffee, letting the quiet wash over me. She was only 8 months old, tiny, soft, giggly, and the light of my life. My wife was out running errands. So, it was just me, the stroller, and a perfect lakeside morning. Nothing, absolutely nothing, hinted at what would happen next. No warning. No sign. No reason. But that's how trouble begins around here. If peace exists, the HOA's president, Karen Elliston, finds a way to destroy it. I heard her before I saw her. The click-click-click of her little HOA heels on pavement. The overly bright tone of a woman who weaponizes fake friendliness. Good morning. Karen's voice chirped out like an alarm clock you want to throw across the room. I exhaled slowly. Here we go. She strutted down the lakeside path, clipboard pressed to her chest, lips stretched into a smile so forced it looked painful. Lovely day, isn't it? She asked. It was, I said. Her jaw twitched, but she kept smiling. Then she zoomed in on the stroller like a hawk. And where, she demanded sweetly, is the mother? Out, I said. Running errands. Karen lifted her chin. So, the baby is unattended. I blinked slowly. I'm literally standing right here. She clicked her tongue. HOA regulations require both parents to supervise a child near open water. No, I said. They don't. Karen tapped her clipboard. They do now. Ah. She had added a rule this morning. Typical. She shoved the clipboard at me. Rule 48B, children under 5 must have 2 adults present within 10 feet of the shoreline. I almost laughed. You made this up, I said. Of course not, she insisted. It was approved by the HOA board this morning. Meaning, she wrote it at 6 a.m. and approved it with her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Karen, I said calmly, this is ridiculous. I take my daughter out here every day. And that's exactly the problem, she snapped. You think the rules don't apply to you. They don't apply when they're invented on the spot. Karen took a step closer, eyes narrowing. You've been a disruption since the day you moved in. The loud tools. The truck. The guests. And now, this. She pointed at the stroller. You're endangering that child. My jaw clenched. You will not talk about my daughter like that. A coldness crossed her eyes. You'll learn, she hissed. One way or another. She turned sharply and walked off. I watched her go, heart pounding, instinct screaming that something was off. I should have followed her. Should have kept an eye on her. But I didn't. And that was my biggest mistake. The baby started to fuss. I leaned down, rubbing her tiny hand. Okay, sweetheart, let's go inside and get your bottle. I wheeled the stroller just inside the porch shade. The bottle was in the kitchen. 30 steps away. No more than 2 minutes, tops. I stepped inside. Grabbed the bottle. Shook it. Turned around. Walked back to the porch. And froze. The stroller was gone. My heart slammed into my ribs. The stroller. The stroller wasn't there. I dropped the bottle. No, 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 no. Panic ripped through me as I sprinted off the porch. The wheels had left faint tracks in the dust near the path. The baby's blanket lay crumpled near the edge of the walkway. My vision blurred. Someone took her. Someone took my baby. I ran down the path, chest burning, adrenaline exploding through my bloodstream. And then I saw it. A figure ahead. Walking toward the lake. Pushing a stroller. My stroller. Karen. She didn't see me yet. She was humming. Humming. pushing my baby's stroller not down the sidewalk, but straight toward the docks, the lake's edge, the deep part. My body went numb. My mind blanked. I didn't think. I just ran. Karen! I roared. Stop. Step away from my baby. She jerked her head around, eyes wild, breath shaking. Oh, she said lightly. There you are. She kept walking. Toward the water. Toward the drop-off. And for one horrifying second, my legs gave out. There are moments in life where fear changes shape. It becomes something primal. Something ancient. A force that burns through your bones and screams. Get. Your. Child. The dock creaked under her feet. The stroller rattled, one wheel slipping between the slats. My baby whimpered, soft, scared. Karen, don't touch that stroller. She placed one hand on the handle. Her fingers curled. And she whispered something I will never forget. They don't deserve to live here anyway. I froze mid-stride. What did you say? She tilted her head, eyes glassy. This community needs to be pure. Clean. Controlled. Your family doesn't listen. She nudged the stroller closer to the edge. My soul tore open. Karen, please, stop, don't. She lifted the front wheel slightly. And that's when the entire world exploded. Step away from the child, someone roared. A black armored vehicle skidded onto the lakeside road. Doors flew open. SWAT officers sprinted out fast, controlled, deadly precise. Karen jerked back in shock. The stroller teetered dangerously, one wheel off the edge. A SWAT commander pointed his rifle. Ma'am. Right now. Let go of the stroller. Karen froze. Her eyes flicked between me, the stroller, and the armed officers approaching her. And then she whispered. You called them, didn't you? But she was wrong. I hadn't. They came because she had done this before. And this time, she crossed the final line. The commander's voice thundered across the lake. Drop the stroller. Now. Karen's entire body trembled. Her hands opened and closed like she didn't know what to do. She kept looking at me like I was the threat. Why did they send SWAT? For a baby, she muttered. The commander stepped closer. We were responding to a prior incident, Mrs. Elliston. You were already under investigation. My jaw tightened. What prior incident? Karen whipped around, eyes wild. That was different. That was not my fault. They were being dramatic. The commander ignored her. His attention laser-focused on the stroller teetering over the water. If he hadn't arrived when he did. One more inch in. No. I couldn't let my mind go there. My legs moved on their own. I stepped onto the dock, hands out, voice shaking. Karen, please. Just step away. Let me take my daughter. She gritted her teeth and spat. Your family doesn't belong here. The commander raised his fist. And in a single fluid motion, 2 officers moved in. Everything happened in one breath. 2 SWAT officers moved like shadows, silent, swift, surgical. One grabbed Karen's wrists. The other secured her shoulders. A third caught the stroller at the exact moment the front wheel slipped off the dock. I lunged, grabbing the handle with both hands. My daughter began crying, the raw, terrified wail of a baby who felt the danger before understanding it. My chest cracked open with relief. Shoo! Daddy's here. You're safe. You're safe. Her tiny fingers gripped mine. Behind us, Karen shrieked. Get your hands off me. You can't touch me. I'm the president of this homeowners association. The commander stared her down. Ma'am, you are under investigation for endangering a child. You do not have authority here. I stared at him, breath stuttering. You were already coming, before this happened? He nodded slowly. Karen Elliston has been on our watch list for 2 weeks. My blood ran cold. Why? He sighed. She filed 7 false reports, harassed multiple families, and attempted to seize 3 properties she didn't own. Then yesterday. He paused. She tried to take another neighbor's toddler out of their yard. The world tilted. That family reported it, he said. We began surveillance immediately. I swallowed hard. So today wasn't random. No, he said. She escalates when she feels threatened. And she felt threatened, by my wife and baby? He nodded. My stomach dropped. Behind us, Karen collapsed to her knees. Her hair, normally tied tight, now hung wild across her face. You're all blind, she sobbed. This community needs me. I keep it together. I keep it safe. No, ma'am, an officer said. You endanger the people you claim to protect. Karen slammed her fist into the wooden dock. I did what needed to be done. The rules must be obeyed. Her voice echoed across the lake like a broken alarm. A neighbor whispered, horrified. She really lost it. Karen looked around, eyes frantic. Her gaze locked on me. You did this, she hissed. You ruined everything. I stepped back protectively, shielding my daughter. No, Karen, I said quietly. You did this to yourself. A senior officer knelt beside Karen. Karen Elliston, you are under arrest for child endangerment, attempted abduction, harassment, and multiple counts of HOA fraud. She shook her head violently. No. No, no. I am the president of this community. That position was revoked 30 minutes ago, he said. The board voted unanimously. Karen froze. What do you mean? Mrs. Alder stepped forward, voice trembling. We voted while you were dragging that stroller. You're removed. Permanently. Karen let out a sound I'll never forget, a broken, empty gasp. They can't do that, she whispered. They can, I said softly. And they did. The officer gently guided her to her feet. She didn't fight this time. She just stared at me, confused, betrayed, lost. Like she couldn't understand how her own world burned down in minutes. The officers guided Karen toward the van. Each step echoed like a fading heartbeat. She looked back one last time. Eyes red. Face pale. Voice barely a whisper. I was trying to help. Those words haunted me. Because in her twisted mind, she believed them. The doors shut with a heavy metallic thud. The SWAT van pulled away. And just like that, the most dangerous person in our neighborhood was gone. Removed in 5 minutes. All because someone finally saw what she was capable of. But the story wasn't over yet. Not even close. Because after SWAT left, the neighborhood wasn't quiet. It was angry. Conflicted. And tired of pretending everything was normal. Things were about to get messy. Very messy. The moment the SWAT van disappeared down the road, the neighborhood burst like a shaken soda can. People shouted. Cried. Argued. Half were furious at Karen. Half were stunned that it had gone this far. Mrs. Parker held her chest, trembling. My God, she really would have pushed that stroller. I always thought she just yelled too much, not that she was dangerous. Mr. Knight clenched his jaw. She threatened to fine us for having a garden hose on the lawn. We should have known she was losing it. Another neighbor yelled, she threatened everyone. But we all just let her. A woman burst into tears. She came to my house at midnight last week, banging on the door, screaming about unregistered porch decor. It terrified my kids. And slowly, everyone's eyes turned to me. Not with suspicion, but with guilt. Because they knew Karen had been targeting my family the most and they had looked away. People began turning on each other.
You enabled her, one woman shouted.
No, you did, a man snapped back. This HOA is a disaster.
You're on the board, you let her stay president.
Because she threatened us. This neighborhood needs therapy, someone muttered. It spiraled quickly, everyone grasping for someone else to blame.
And then Mrs. Alder spoke quietly but firmly.
Stop. Everyone froze. She looked around at all of them. We all let this happen. Every single one of us. Silence. Uncomfortable. Heavy.
There were signs, she continued. She screamed at children. She terrorized families.
She chased people down the street. She tried to steal a toddler yesterday. People gasped.
And none of us stood up to her.
Because we thought. It's just Karen. Her voice cracked. Until today, when it wasn't just Karen anymore.
For the first time, the neighborhood looked ashamed.
Just when the tension peaked, the SWAT commander walked back up the path. Helmet under his arm. Clipboard in hand. Everyone fell silent.
Ladies and gentlemen, he began, I know today was frightening. But our team has been monitoring the situation for weeks. A few neighbors shuddered. He continued, Karen Elliston escalated far beyond HOA authority. She engaged in harassment, intimidation, illegal surveillance of residents, and attempted abduction prior to this incident.
Whispers rippled through the crowd. My stomach twisted. She was worse than any of us knew. The commander turned to me. Sir, we'll need your formal statement soon.
But first, take care of your child.
I nodded. Thank you, I said, voice tight. He placed a hand on my shoulder.
You kept calm in a situation where most people wouldn't.
You saved her. I looked down at my daughter, tiny, warm, safe in my arms. I'd do anything for her.
The commander smiled and walked off.
3 HOA board members approached, nervous, hands wringing. The tallest cleared his throat. We owe you an apology, he said. Another whispered, a very big apology. The third sighed deeply. We were scared of her. She threatened us constantly. She forced rule changes, issued fines without approval, and, well, you saw what she was capable of. I stared at them. You waited until today to remove her?
They shifted uncomfortably.
She always claimed she had connections, one said.
And she'd punish anyone who spoke against her, said another.
And we didn't think she'd ever cross the line with a child. My fist clenched. But she did. They nodded, ashamed. We're sorry. Truly. I looked at their defeated faces. You weren't just scared, I said. You were controlled. They all nodded. And for the first time, I felt a small, tiny amount of sympathy. Later that afternoon, I drove straight to the pediatrician. My wife rushed there from work the moment she got my call, tears in her eyes as she took our daughter from my arms. The doctor checked everything, her breathing, her pulse, her temperature, her reflexes. Finally, he smiled gently. She's okay. Shaken, but okay. My wife sobbed into my chest. I closed my eyes in relief. We'll watch her closely for a few days, he added, but she's a strong little girl. I kissed my daughter's forehead. Like her mother. My wife laughed through tears. That evening, I got a call. The caller ID, local police deputy. I answered immediately. Is she safe? I asked before they could speak. Yes, the officer replied. We have Karen in custody. I exhaled slowly. She's undergoing evaluation. She will be charged with multiple offenses. But we need a formal statement from you and your wife. We'll be there tomorrow. The officer paused. I want you to know, this likely prevented something far worse. My chest tightened. Thank you, I whispered. We're just doing our job, he said softly.
That night, we sat on the couch, my wife's head on my shoulder, our daughter asleep between us. The world felt strangely quiet.
My wife whispered, I keep thinking, what if you hadn't walked out at that moment? What if she?
I cut her off gently.
It didn't happen. She's safe. That's what matters.
Tears welled in her eyes.
I just don't understand how someone could look at a baby and be so cruel. Not cruel, I said softly. Broken. Karen didn't need more power. She needed help.
My wife nodded, though her jaw clenched.
But she won't hurt anyone again, right? Not after today, I said. And I meant it.
The next evening, the community center filled fast.
People stood shoulder to shoulder, buzzing with fear, anger, shame, and relief. The HOA board sat at the front.
They looked nervous, as they should be.
Mrs. Alder spoke first. We failed you. Every family here deserves safety.
And we allowed Karen to violate that safety for far too long.
People murmured in agreement.
We are restructuring the HOA, she continued. For the first time in 15 years, this neighborhood will be run by actual community members, not a dictator.
Someone shouted, good. It's about time. Another added, we should have stopped her years ago. Mrs. Alder nodded. We apologize. And we promise this will not happen again.
My wife squeezed my hand.
It felt like the neighborhood was finally waking up.
Then Mrs. Alder looked straight at me.
Would you like to speak? She asked. Every head turned. My stomach tightened. I wasn't used to being the center of attention. But my wife squeezed my arm and whispered, you should. So I stood. The room went silent.
I looked at all of them, the same neighbors who had watched Karen's reign of control, and said nothing.
I don't want revenge, I began quietly. I don't want punishment. I don't want anger. People leaned forward. I want safety. I want accountability. And I want this community to stop being afraid.
A murmur rippled through the room. We can't let fear make us silent.
We can't ignore warning signs.
And we can't hand power to someone who uses it to hurt others.
A few people nodded. Some wiped tears. And most importantly, I looked around. We protect our children first. No matter what. Silence. Then applause. Loud. Long, emotional. For the first time since moving here, I felt like we weren't alone. Like the community actually heard us. The morning after the community meeting felt different. The neighborhood was quiet, not the tense, brittle quiet of fear, but calm. Peaceful.
I stood on the porch with my coffee, my daughter babbling softly in her stroller. For the first time since moving here, I didn't expect Karen to storm around the corner yelling about invisible HOA violations. She was gone. And the neighborhood finally felt like a place my daughter could grow up. My wife stepped out and wrapped her arms around my waist, resting her head on my back. It feels normal again, she whispered.
It does, I agreed. And safe.
But we didn't know yet what SWAT had uncovered.
Not until the phone rang. Detective Hayes spoke calmly but directly. We completed our evaluation and interviews, he said.
Karen will be facing several charges.
I felt my stomach tighten. What kind? Child endangerment.
Attempted child abduction.
Fraud. Harassment.
And she violated several state safety laws tied to HOA authority. My wife covered her mouth, eyes wide.
I swallowed hard. So she's not coming back?
No, he said firmly. She's being transferred to a long-term psychiatric evaluation center. She's mentally unstable, and a risk to herself and others.
I exhaled. A long, painful breath. She won't hurt anyone ever again, Hayes added.
And for what it's worth, you handled the situation exactly right.
Thank you, I said. I just did what any father would. He paused. Not everyone does. You kept calm under pressure. You protected your child. We hung up. My wife hugged me tightly, whispering, "It's really over." And this time, I believed it. A week later, the HOA held a new election.
Gone were the clipboards, the fear, the shouting.
Instead, parents, retirees, everyday people, real neighbors. Mrs. Alder was voted president, unanimously.
She approached me afterward, smiling warmly.
"We want to thank you," she said.
"You spoke for all of us. You stood up when we were scared."
I shook my head. "You all stood up last night. That's what matters." She chuckled.
"Still, if you ever want a spot on the board, we'd welcome you."
I laughed. "I think I've had enough HOA drama for a lifetime." My wife laughed too. And just like that, the reign of fear was replaced by community. Real community.
That evening, I walked the same path where everything happened.
The lake shimmered gold in the sunset.
The dock creaked gently as I rolled the stroller out, carefully, slowly, safely.
I knelt beside my daughter.
"You scared me that day, sweetheart," I whispered, brushing her soft hair.
"But you're safe now."
"You're more than safe."
She giggled and grabbed my finger. I looked out at the water.
The place where fear once lived now felt peaceful. Healed. Like the lake itself took a breath of relief. My wife joined us and slipped her hand into mine. The three of us walked home together, a family stronger than fear, stronger than the past, stronger than anything Karen ever threw at us. My wife leaned her head on my shoulder. "We're lucky," she whispered.
"No," I said softly. "We're blessed." And as the street lights flickered on, and our daughter cooed between us, I realized something. Karen didn't break us.
She brought the neighborhood together.
She revealed the truth. She showed everyone what fear looks like. And what courage looks like. And in the end, family wins. Always. The end.